Welcome, everyone, to the Winstel Cup Series here on ABN. We're glad you're with us for the 3M Performance 400 here at Michigan International Speedway, the second of 3 races here this week on ABN. They'll round out tomorrow with the HTL Cup Series race here in the Irish Hills. 4 races to go, though, in the Winstel Cup Series campaign. A wild run into these last 4 races coming out of last week. Christina Ryan, a first-time race winner in her 91st start. We're ready to jump into things here on ABN. We're glad you're with us. It's all about the points going in here to the Winstel Cup Series campaign. This is how the playoffs started. See if we can get anything refreshed there. It looks like no, not quite. Unfortunate to that. We'll just read it off by hand because we do have that list available in the conversation. Jacob Potak, your points leader, ahead of Michael Guest, Dylan Roberts, and Colin Keys for your top 4. Jacob Potak ahead by just 5 points to Michael Guest, who has been on fire in the chase so far. Dylan Roberts, 34 back from Michael Guest, 39 back from the top spot. Colin Keys 40 points away from the top of the standings. Christian Budd, 61 points back in 5th is how things line up here at the moment. Your top 12 separated by 150 points going into this race in Michigan. 4 races to go. Christina Ryan, with her race win last week, put herself 13th place ahead of the rest of the group outside of the chase. We'll see if she can maintain that here in the Irish Hills. Qualifying is done and dusted here. So let's go ahead and jump into the starting grid. Top 10 starting results. This is where you'll find Larry Pace at the front of the field. Number 1, qualifying in pole position, a 38.342. Christian Budd in second. Emily Howe and Jacob Potak, your top 4, ahead of Ryan Moyer, Ryan Hill, Brendan McGee, Jim Mauricio, Pugasolis Jr., and Alex Bates here in Michigan. Top 20. If we find Andy Trupiano, Tom Willett, Logan Kress, Tyler Murray, Lucas Davila, Evan Melanson, Parker Alexander, Craig Lautenslager, Michael Guest down in 19th place for the starting grid of row 10 for him. Philip Snipes in 20th. Full starting grid rolling at the bottom of your screen as we get ready to get this race underway. You'll notice the Chevrolet cars look a little odd here. We're replicating the 2007 Winstel Cup Series campaign. 2007 marked the 50-year anniversary of Chevrolet. So, 57 bumpers from the Valair on these Monte Carlo machines. They look tacky, but the celebration, it's 1 race only in this campaign. Michigan being the home of American automotive industry. Chevrolet, Dodge, and Ford all producing vehicles through Michigan, whether it was in Dearborn or Detroit directly. Just the cars roll off here. 42, a full field once again. This late into the season is incredible. A lot of names to keep an eye on. Josh Chin, Sean Peleg down in row 17 and 18 is going to be wild to watch there. Reminder as we pull the ticker up for the first time here. Those marked in yellow are in the chase. There are 12 drivers in that battle for a championship. All of them within a race touching distance of that top spot. You see the rear bumper there for Larry Pace. A good look there at the fake crow from those 57 Chevys way back in the day. For those tuning in, last week's winner, Christina Ryan, did not qualify super well, down in 25th position. Inside row 13 is where she'll sit. The pace car is in, and it is almost showtime here in Michigan. Larry Pace brings us to green. We are underway here in the Irish Hills. And immediately under caution, back of the field, Hayden Rapaw. Looks like Corey Steinhauser in the grass there as well. We'll see what happens. Looks like Brandon McKissick also got a piece. And so under caution immediately. Let's take a look as to why. Looks like a checkup here. And McKissick goes for a little bit of a ride. So let's back it up here. It looks like the 96 just does not roll. That's Austin Reedy in the DLP, the Hall of Fame Racing Chevrolet. So McKissick gets a little bit of help there from the 48 of Peleg. Home racetrack for the 48 camp here. And that's where Corey Steinhauser gets a piece from Hayden Rapaw. So a huge stack up near the back of the field there. These were all in the back 10. And all three of them in trouble here on lap 1. So some cars coming down pit lane. Back to real time. Full pictures here. Some early takers will drop to the back of the field. Larry Pace and company, though, will stay out at the front. We will take this moment to shout out our amazing supporters, our premier tier subscribers on patreon.com/ABN Studios. Most just celebrated an anniversary. Moving up a month, Trav Slogan, Diamond2935, Eli Sasek, Jason Scott, Alfred Denny, Weekend Hobby 22, Philip Snipes, Tyler Head, B-Dogs, Colin McDonough, Blue, KJ Gibney, J-Paw, Jake Podek, and June. Thank you all so much for your support so far. We have a ton of plus tier subscribers as well on Patreon. Those names are at the bottom of your screen, that ticker at the bottom for all of our broadcasts that we do. We appreciate all the support everyone has given us here in 2026. It's really appreciated. If you want your name shouted out, QR code on your screen, or if you're watching on YouTube, the description down below can help you get started. Support is greatly appreciated. We got podcasts coming up here this week on Wednesday. It is Avian Unplugged. That debuted a week ago. And Avian Victory Lane on Friday. We're also doing an Avian Fantasy Football pool for Patreon subscribers. That kicks up here in a couple weeks, so if you want to be a part of fantasy football for ABN, go on in and join us. Larry Pace will lead the way as the field comes down towards the green. Let's say a huge shout out to our official drink supplement sponsor in Advanced as we get ready to come to the green flag here. Larry Pace, Christian Budd, Emily Howe, Jake Potak at the front of the field. The green flag flies. We're back underway here in Michigan. Pace leading the opening laps here of the restart. First laps run under green flag conditions. The sound of race cars echoing loudly here. Car running just a little bit off the beaten path. That was Alex Bates for a moment. They got a little bit loose. Brendan McGee 3 wide. Tom Millette and Jose Solis Jr. in that conversation, as is Ryan Hill. But Larry Pace out in front, enjoying clean air and clear racetrack here in Michigan as we kick off lap 9 of 60 here in the Irish Hills. Piano in this mix as well. In 11th, Ryan Moyer in 10th. Trying to hang on to the top 10. He's lost 5 spots. Trying to get those positions back as Emily Howe battles with Jacob Potak for 3rd. We're now fanning out just a little bit here. Solis up in the fence. We'll lose several spots on that one. A little bit of latency there for Parker Alexander down in the 22nd position. And then you see it a little bit more. Christina Ryan up to 21st. Started this race 25th, up 4 spots. Everyone rolling around on the racetrack at the moment. All 42 that started are circulating. You see Tom Wetmore in that 3M number 16. Battling right now with Evan Melanson in that Best Buy number 66. Larry Pace out in front by a wide margin. Here comes the battle for second place. Potak, Bud, and Hal all in the mix. Potak trying to get clear, not quite, down the back straightaway. Mauricio in fifth, also in touching distance of this battle. Trouble for Dan Breckus. And Dan Breckus is out. The 40 wrecks early, back straightaway. See if we can get a replay as to what happened to the 40. As Potak takes over second spot and now begins trying to chase down that number one, Larry Pace. Here's what happened to Dan Breckus. Number 40 comes to a spin. Caution does not come out, but he doesn't hit anything. And he just toes. That's out of turn 4, actually. That's towards pit entry. Bang out just a little bit now as we get some good long run going here. One caution on lap 1. A two-part crash that involved Sean Pellig, Brendan McKissick, Corey Steinhauser, and Hayden Rapa. Gave us a quick reset that has since allowed us to go green flag racing. See Potak pulling away from Christian Budd as well now in this battle for the second position that has quickly become a battle for third. Battle further down the running order. Trupiano with a little bit of latency. Not what you want to see from Trupiano. This could be day done for Trupiano. No, P is back in the running. Took him a hot second to get back there in the conversation. So latency becoming the name of the game right now for a couple drivers as they try to manage that on the racetrack. Trupiano in ninth behind Ryan Hill and Tom Millette. Brendan McGee surging forward, battling Mauricio for fifth. How hard is Mauricio going to fight him here? Not very hard. McGee up to fifth without much problem there in that number 9 machine. Davila, his teammate, there for Evernham Motorsports. A little slideways in the 19 car. Sitting in the 13th spot behind Michael Guest, who won at Richmond 2 weeks ago. Craig Lautenslayer in 15th place. Ahead of his teammate for Roush Fenway Racing, some Wetmore, and then Andrew Farrier, 74, trying to move forward as well. Up 15 spots already. He is your biggest mover of the race. Make that 16 spots as he works on the 16 of Wetmore and the 99 of Lautenschlager. Farrier is starting forward. If he can get past Lautenschlager, that's 17 spots gained from the start of this race. Tyler Murray just behind there at 18. A pretty good smorgasbord of cars in this conversation. Parker Alexander a little bit more latency in the 44 camp. Behind Dylan Roberts in the number 8. And Philip Snipes in the 2. The Lager rivalry there, the Budweiser versus Miller Lite camp. And right now, Dylan Roberts has the advantage in the number 8 car as he slices to the bottom of the racetrack to try to get around the 99 of Lautenschlager, who's lost multiple spots over the last lap and change. Philip Snipes in danger. That is the 88 of Blake Cannon, the 42 of McKissick. And both get through, but all three are outside the top 20 at the moment. Christina Ryan, who was up in 20th, now sitting down in 24th position, sliding back closer to where she started in 25th. Everyone trying to manage things here. See a car a lap down. Brandon Cruz came down pit lane under lap 16. Standard pit stop sequence, it looks like here. 15-second stop for car number 20. Fresh tires. He'll slice and dice through the back of the field here. Trying to get that lap back. More cars down pit lane. This time, Farriers, Murray, and Kress. All down pit lane. Larry Pace now caught up to by the 24 of Jake Potak, looking for another race win here. Did exceptionally well in Fontana, the other 2-mile racetrack on the campaign. And Larry Pace comes down pit lane this time. So before Potak got past on the racetrack, Pace comes down pit lane and makes that job pretty easy. Potak swept the races in Fontana. For those that missed it, it's been a long time. The first race in Fontana back in March. Using these Gen 4 cars, second race in June, running the car tomorrow. Here comes Potak. Here comes Christian Budd down the pit lane. Emily Howe, your new race leader. Over McGee and Michael Guest. Comes in Lee Howe, looks like down pit lane this go around. Brendan McGee, Michael Guest all coming down pit lane this go around as well. How about Tom Wetmore? He also comes down pit lane this time. Brandon McKissick, who came down pit lane on lap 2, becomes the new race leader on lap 45. You want to need to make a pit stop here soon, as will Champeau, Pele, Chen, Reedy, Coppinger, Marble, and Raypaw. Your top 8 will all need to make pit stops here in a couple laps. Only bought themselves a couple laps of reprieve onto that opening caution. And McKissick decides now's a good time to come down pit lane. He's not alone. Pelig, Champeau, Chin, all down pit lane. Austin Reedy also down pit lane here. Brandon Coppinger will take over the race lead. New race leader. The 45 for Petty Enterprises. out in front in that marathon machine. Pit stops underway. Hayden Rapaw 12 seconds away from Coppinger. Doing a little bit of that damage from the opening lap melee. And that car does not look healthy as it wobbles down the back straightaway. Coppinger down pit lane. So your 45 is in. How about Hayden Rapaw? Rapaw also comes down pit lane, so no lap led for the 58. It will relinquish the race lead back to Larry Pace, who, as it was when he started this run, under pressure from the 24 of Jacob Potak, who slows the gap on him pretty significantly. Knuff leaving pit lane, goes a lap down. Christian Budd in third. Mauricio in fourth. Andrew Ferriner is in the fifth spot, up to the top five. Ferriner is using a two-lap undercut to jump up into the top 10. Tom Millett in sixth, Andy Trupiano in seventh. Had a Jose Solis Jr. and Emily Howe in ninth. Michael Guest, your Richmond race winner from 2 weeks ago, in 10th. Had a Ryan Hill and Brennan McGee. McGee penalty lap 24. That overcut did not work out for him at the moment. We'll see if it sticks, though, as this run pushes along. Ryan Moyer on lap 28, sits 13th. Ahead of Logan Kress. Logan Kress there under pressure from Dylan Roberts and Alex Bates. Kress in the Huddle House 37. Alex Bates there in that Domino's number 00 from Michael Waltrip Racing. And Roberts in that iconic Budweiser number 8. Lucas Davila also in the battle there with Parker Alexander for 17th position. He has fallen backwards a little bit. Greg Lautenschlager down in 19th. Brandon McKissick up to 20th. The overcut did work out for him pretty well. Car with a little bit of trouble. Looks like that might have been Philip Snipes. See, it was the 29th place car, the number 2, that Blue Deuce. Logan Kress came down pit lane top lap 21. He's been passed now by Roberts, Bates, and Davila, with Parker Alexander trying to follow through. This is the 37, struggling just a little bit. In front of the field, Jacob Potak has taken over the race lead as we kick off the second half of the race here in Michigan. This is his fourth lap led tonight. His first outside of the pit sequence. At pace led 23 laps to kick off the start of this race in that number 1 machine. Christian Budd, no laps left for him yet in this race. Neither for Mauricio. Leading a lap gets you 5 extra bonus points. And Howe has those bonus points. She also has a Hornet's Nest of top 3, 3 wide cars behind her. Solis will let Trupiano, Guest, Ferriner all in this conversation. Tom Willett not comfy in that middle lane in between the 2 chase contenders. Ends up being passed by both Trupiano and by Michael Guest. Trupiano up top in that 06. Michael Guest in the 46. Gets ahead of both. Now tries to chase down Jose Solis Jr. Everyone slaps the wall on lap 33. Guest up to 6th. Finley out. Down in 5th. Lost a spot to Mauricio. And everyone's sliding out of turn 2. It looks like they're to varying degrees. These cars are a handful. Solus trying to catch up to Michael Guest here. Trying to get back that 6th spot. Michael Guest on the surge forward. Up 13 spots from where he started this race, down to 19th. Trouble further back. Chris Bishop comes down pit lane. A little bit of damage on that number 70 for Chris Bishop as well, as he comes down to pit lane. Kotek has a 7/10 gap to the front of the field. Larry Pace, Christian Budd in pursuit behind. Equal distance between the top 3. Mauricio in 4th, trying to give chase. Only Hal losing touch over a second behind Mauricio at this point, as Michael Guest tries to surge forward. So Michael Guest on the bumper. Toyota versus Toyota here. Let's right on board with the 46. As he tries to close the gap. And just like that, Michael Guest to the front of Emily Howe. That is in the top 5 for car 46. Who's on the climb. 2.3 behind Jacob Kotek at the moment, with some work to do. He is faster than the leader right now by about 2 miles an hour. 179 versus 177 for Jake Kotek. Brandon Cruz down pit lane. He was one of the first ones in on that first green flag pit stop cycle. He's one of the first ones in here again. Guest trying to surge forward there, still faster. Take a look at what everyone's running pace-wise at the moment. Larry Pace under threat now from Christian Budd. This is what Larry Pace's pace looks like as they deal with lap traffic. That is Steinhauser going a lap down on the racetrack here. Holding that 177 pretty well. Larry Pace struggling to keep up there. Gets passed by Christian Budd in that process. Christian Budd, new second place driver. As Pace comes down pit lane this go around. Christian Bugg going to try to reel in the race leader, who has got 1.3 on the field. The pit stops are underway. Mauricio hot in tow as well. Michael Guest is there too in fourth. So Michael Guest not far away at all right now. And here comes several drivers down pit lane. Bud, Mauricio, Solis. McGee stays out. Tripiano stays out. Ferrinares, Davila, Alexander all come down pit lane this go around. Battle further back in the running order here. This race is played out a little bit like an HTL Challenger Series race. An early caution and then green flag since. Coming to 18 to go here in Michigan. Tripiano down pit lane. Ryan Moyer down pit lane. Willett losing spots to McKissick and Hill. With those pit stops underway. Your entire top 16 still needs to make a pit stop sequence. They're trying to stretch it out a little bit longer here. Give themselves the best chance of having the right tires at the end of the race. And Willett comes down pit lane this time. Potak, Guest, and McGee also all down pit lane. And Emily Howell back out in front under the second consecutive pit stop sequence for the 55. Potak coming to his pit box. That is his pit stop time. .8. McGee a little bit longer, 15.9 on the box for the number 9 camp. Samuel 14.6. Don't get to use this little pit stop graphic very often. Emily Howell down pit lane. Her pit stop time, what is it going to look like? Four tires and fuel. Coming to 15 laps to go. 14.6 is the right number. 14.5 stays the right number. And Emily Howell's back out and away. McKissick down pit lane this time from the race lead. Dylan Robertson in tow. How about Blake Cannon? Blake Cannon stays out. And the Yates Racing, number 88, leads a lap. A bit of contact between Snipes and Murray, the 2 in the 07, as they try to navigate the slower lead lap car out in front of the field right now. That's teammate 38, James Grantham, trying to find his way on by. And Coppinger closing in from 11 seconds back. Cannon comes down pit lane this go around. 45 might recycle to the front of the field here. He's going to stay out and give it a go. And back out in front goes Coppinger once again. Coppinger stays out again here. Larry Pace only 7 seconds away. Jake Potak stayed out extra late on that pit stop sequence. Got leapfrogged by Pace, Bud, Mauricio, and Solis here. As Kirk Marble, a lap down, doesn't put up too much of a fight in that 09. So Potak a lot closer to Michael Guest here late on in this race. Larry Pace, your pole sitter, using some strategy calls to try to get back out in front here. Pace, Bud, Mauricio, your top three. Potak in fourth, trying to close that gap. Guest gets around Solis, who drifts up the racetrack wide and high, and moves to the top five with a Coppinger pit stop. So Solis to sixth. Ferrinaire is still most positions gained in this race from the start. 25 spots gained for Ferrinaire in this race. Started down in the back six and is now sitting in seventh. A pretty good run for him so far. Tripiano in eighth, and Lee Howe down in ninth place at the moment. And then Lucas Davley, Argentinian, sitting in 10th here in Michigan. Brendan McGee's teammate in 11th. Parker Alexander in 12th. Ryan Moyer in 13th place. Tom Willett in 14th. Brendan McKissick in 15th. He's gained a decent chunk of change. 19 spots gained for the 42. Ryan Hill, Alex Bates, Dylan Roberts, Tom Wetmore, and Craig Lautenslager, your top 20 as things sit. Mauricio getting past Michael Guest. Michael Guest trying to surge into that conversation with Jacob Potak. Near the top of the standings here. Remember, they entered as a 5-point difference between Guest and Potak. Potak has led the most laps today. That'll be some extra bonus points for him over Michael Guest. I don't think Michael Guest has led a lap at all in this race. Pull up that stat sheet real quick. No, he's not. Jake Potak, who's out in that third spot, battling for second. This is really a battle for that. Actually, all four of the top leaders are in this conversation now. Potak's led 16 laps tonight. Not enough to have the most laps led, but he's in that conversation right now. Larry Pace still has the most laps led. He's led almost half the race. 3 more laps than he will have. I think he has most laps led anyway. Larry Pace out in charge here, but he's under a lot of duress. Here comes Christian Budd, trying to find a way around. All four on the conversation. Michael Guest hanging it out slideways with 8 to go. Larry Pace takes the line away from the 24 into 3 and 4. Bottles up the 24. Here comes Michael Guest. Michael Guest to the inside lane. Pace 3 wide. Larry Pace did what he thought he needed to do. Blocked off the 24, who had a huge head of steam into 3. But couldn't block off the 46, who goes from 4th to 1st in 1 lap. Michael Guest out in front with a bonsai move that Larry Pace just couldn't quite cover off out of 4. And Larry Pace drops out of the podium. That was a crazy move. Potak and Bud battling for that second spot right now. And Looks like Potak running the bottom lane. Might have a good chance here to clear. And does. Tags the wall, though, and gives all that momentum right back up. Side by side, the run out of turn 3 and 4. Coming to 5 to go. Potak, clear of Bud, clear of Pace. Mauricio in 5th in car 5. And Lee Howe up to 6th. Now the question is, with Potak, can he reel back in that 46 of Michael Guest? Otherwise, this point scenario is going to get pretty interesting. Going into the last 3 races, Talladega up next. Will be a wild run to see. Four laps to go, 8 miles. In change, McKissick trying to climb into the top 10 as close as he can. Down with Roberts, Alexander, Ryan Hill, and Lucas Davila, who sits in the 11th spot. Ryan Hill trying to work Davila up the racetrack there. Doesn't really work out for him. It works out better for the 8 of Dylan Roberts here. Dylan Roberts has a way better time on that exchange. McGee in 10th. Davila just trying to hang in there at the moment. With 3 laps to go. Another battle further back here. Bates and Boulette battling for the 17th position side by side at turn 1. Not been really a race to remember for Sean Pellig, the Michigander, with his home race here this weekend. Sitting in 20th. Lawton Slager in 21st. Blake Cannon 22nd. Tom Wetmore, Christina Ryan off in the distance. Christina Ryan working on holding off. That is the 77 of Corey Steinhauser. But just behind that is the 37 of Logan Kress. And Phillips laps 26th. Chris Champeau, Corey Cook, Lucas Strayer, Austin Reedy, your top 30. Bud has lost touch with Jacob Potak, but Potak has not really been able to close the gap in on Michael Guest. As they come out of turn 4, Michael Guest will take the white flag. 1 lap to go. Michael Guest, Jacob Potak, Christian Bud, your top 3 at the moment. Bud, the one that's most in danger of losing that 3rd spot potentially. Larry Pace tags the fence out of turn 2, though, and that will give Christian Bud the reprieve he needs to enter turn 3 without much worry. Michael Guest out of turn 4 for the final time, make it 3 race wins in this season, and the championship competition is on. Michael Guest wins in Michigan. Toyota stumps Chevrolet in their backyard. Ford left scratching their head in 3rd with Christian Bud hanging in there. Larry Pace 4th, Gabriel Mauricio in your top 5, but it is Michael Guest, your race winner here in Michigan. An outstanding job for Michael Guest tonight. He gets to celebrate in a massive way here in the Irish Hills. Michael Guest victorious here in Michigan. The winning moment presented by Advanced. Running out there in Mobile 1 victory lane. Pretty cool burnout for Michael Guest, who takes the fight to Jacob Potak here with 3 races to go. It is game on. The fight 100% is on here. Talladega, Phoenix, and Atlanta. The final 3 races of the Winstel Cup Series campaign. Outstanding job there from Michael Guest, who wins his 3rd race of the campaign tonight. Everyone getting themselves debriefed here, ready to go. We will go ahead and talk to the 3rd place driver tonight, Christian Budd, who had an eventful race up there at the front of the field. Competitive, but it seemed like long run pace was a little bit left to desire for the 17 camp. Christian, walk us through that race on your end. Obviously, a big race, 42 cars here at Michigan, listed late in the campaign. Always fun to see. Walk us through, though, how that race went for you, because it seemed like it was always elbows out from the drop of the green flag tonight.
Yeah, it was a really fun race. First of all, congrats to Michael for winning. Always fun when you get to race with guys who race really hard and clean. I think I psyched myself out a little bit in practice, and I don't know, in practice the track was super slick, and I was just burning my right rear every run. So that first run, I was like, oh, well, just take it easy, and I saw Larry get out there ahead of me, and I thought, okay, just kind of be patient and he'll come back. And then Potak got by me and they didn't ever come back. So the 2nd and 3rd run, I ran a little harder and kept up a little better. But I knew that, if I just did what Jake did, I couldn't win. And so I decided to pit just a lap shorter. And I saw it didn't work when Larry did it the first time. I didn't think it would work, but you never know. And unfortunately, it didn't work out. Got a 3rd out of it, which is good. Didn't lead a lap tonight. That was not good. But just did my best. That's all you could ever do.
It's tough at the top of the Winstel Cup Series field. We know that as someone who we've seen win multiple times in races like these. 3 races to go in the campaign. Obviously, a 3rd place, not much to sort of shrug at there, but the top 2 in the standings were the 2 that finished ahead of you tonight. How do you have the Talladega? It's a wide open race. It is that O'Reilly's car that we're going to be using in Talladega, so it's a 3rd car that's off this one race only next week. How do you sort of regroup and try to gain positions kind of going into Talladega, knowing that it is sort of a wide open race?
Yeah, I'm not the best at those plate tracks. I've driven that car one time when we did a practice race and felt like I pretty much ran at the back the whole time. So I can't say that I feel super confident going to Talladega, but at the same time, it's kind of the same for everybody. I feel like if you don't get wrecked and you can pull a good finish out of there, that's awesome. But I think everybody in the top 5 who's got a shot at it is probably thinking more not to get wrecked and don't have a really bad day as opposed to, having to have maybe a great day. You do have the drop week in there. So, if Talladega is your only bad race and you're running top 5, like the guys who are leading the standings have been, then it's okay. But you just never know what's going to happen. So that's a race to kind of get through. Just do your best. If you come out with good points, great. And then we got Phoenix and Atlanta, and you can see how tough everybody is. It's going to be really hard to win those, but I think that's all you can do. Unfortunately, you kind of start to have to hope that those guys have a little bit of misfortune. But for me, where I am in points, that's what it would take. I think.
Well, a third place to back up a fifth last week in Kansas is a good trend in the right direction there for the 17 camp at Talladega. As you mentioned, Phoenix in 2 weeks, and then the season closes out in Atlanta in 3 weeks' time to end out the month of August. Before we let you go and let you sort of get ready for the week ahead and Talladega and all that brings, if there's anyone to shout and say thank you to, the floor is yours. Obviously, a big race for the Winstel community, the 57 cars on the Chevrolets coming out tonight in full force. And obviously, you had a big hand in painting most, if not all, of the 57 cars to get them ready for tonight's race. So take it away.
Well, I can't take credit for all of those because Jeremy Stanley and Jeff Gross painted a lot of those already, but I did paint a few. Well, shout out Jeremy Stanley for making that 57 Chevy template for everybody to have tonight, because that would have been tough to make, and he did a great job on that. So shout out to him. Wife and kids. My son turned 13 on the 7th, so happy birthday to him. And then, of course, mom and dad. And then the whole Winstel League, everybody who showed up tonight, 42 cars at the end of the season. That's awesome. So thank you for all you guys who showed up tonight and raced hard. And we had a fun, clean event other than one caution. I'll take that every time.
Yeah, the only caution was there at the very start of the race on lap number 1. Green flag to the finish from there. Christian Budd, third place tonight here in Michigan. See what he can do next week in Talladega, a track that everyone fears, but I think we're going to see a big field there as well. Christian, congratulations on the podium, and hopefully we'll talk to you again next Sunday.
Thank you.
A phenomenal job for Christian Budd. P3 tonight will move one spot higher. Jacob Potak could not sweep the 2-mile racetrack, sat one spot shy of that marker. Led almost 20 laps tonight. Jacob Potak, walk us through that race for the 24 camp. And the championship fight closes in just a little bit tighter getting into Talladega next week.
Yeah, you were right about that. It's going to be something to see. I am already anxious for it, but that's not today. So it was a good race. I thought the setup was really fun, and I had a great time that first run, driving past Emily and Christian and got up to Larry, and I just definitely threw the race away on my own end. Just that first run, lap before I pit, I hit the wall and just had 11 or 12 seconds of damage on the right front, but it was just a hair slow on the straights after that the whole rest of the way. And, it's like half a tenth, so not too crazy in the moment, but over 40 laps, that adds up. So I feel like if I didn't make that mistake, just think I would have been in a different position there at the end. And then that very last run, we passed. Gas was catching up to me, and I knew it was going to be a against the odds battle. And would have liked to have seen what happened if I could have got by Bud and Pace, and then had kept the lead after that instead of just letting Michael go right there. Like that was definitely not the right choice of what I did there. But second is good most of the time. Doesn't feel like it so much tonight, but it was still a good race though, all in all. So good stuff to build on for next time we go to one of these tracks.
3 races remain in the campaign here in the Winstel Cup Series 2007 season. Talladega next Sunday, Phoenix, and then Atlanta to round out the season. Obviously, it's a 2-car fight, very closely intertwined. You and Michael Guest here with those 3 races remaining. What's the confidence level going in that 24 camp to try to go back to back with those championship campaigns with those 3 races? That is a gauntlet coming up.
Oh yeah, it's going to be something. I think it just Talladega being next week, it's just so wide open. Just anything can happen. So I think just right now, looking at it, it's like, hey, we're neck and neck in points. Got some other people, Bud and Roberts, hanging up here as well. So, it's still kind of just go do the best you can, and you don't really think too much about, what it means in the points yet. But then I think after Talladega, bring that up just because you're going to know, either somebody's going to have a good day, somebody's going to get lucky there. So I think after Talladega, it'll be like, I can see what I need to do from here and make that happen. Well, right now, it's still kind of just like, do the best you can and see what happens.
A good season so far through the first 16 races this campaign. 10 top 10, 7 top 5s, 4 wins, 4 poles including the second place tonight here in Michigan. Before we let you go and let you get ready for Talladega in the week in between here and next week in Alabama, if there's anyone to shout and say thank you to, the floor is yours. Congrats on the podium and a phenomenal performance once again in the 24 camp.
Yeah, thanks, Carmen. As always, shout out to you and the fantastic broadcast. Shout out to all the competitors tonight, everybody coming out, and shout out to everybody putting the league on as well. And it was a good racing up front with Emily and Larry and Christian and Michael, and congrats to him for the win. So thank you, and I'll see you next time, hopefully.
A phenomenal drive for Jacob Potak. He will head into Alabama for Talladega next week. Still in the points lead, but by very slim margins. Jake, congratulations.
Thank you.
And it's time now for the man of the hour, a third race win in the Winstel Cup Series campaign. Kicked off the chase with a win in Richmond and has backed it up with a second win in the chase after winning the Coke 600 earlier this season. The top two, it is a very close climb in that pursuit for the top of the mountain. Third race win this campaign, a phenomenal drive for the 46 camp. Michael Guest, walk us through it, because you had to work a little bit to get there, up 18 spots. Started this race 19th. Qualifying wasn't quite the best for you. Walk us through that race. You had at least a lot of green flag laps to try to make up those spots.
Yeah, I was definitely pretty scared. Got home from work right as qualifying was ending. I saw the Discord, it was posted at 7:55, and then they said the track was closing at 7:55. So I just jumped in the seat and tried to do a quick lap, and luckily it came out 19th, so it could have been a lot worse. That definitely could have been worse. So I'm definitely glad that I started at least halfway through the field, because since we went green all the way out, I had no chance if I started at the very back. I really enjoyed the race tonight. The setup was fun. It was loose, but in a way that you could go really fast with it with the right throttle control. And I think that's what really made the difference for me on the last half of the runs, when the right rear tire would really start to wear. I was trying to just be really smooth on the throttle, but still go just as fast as I possibly could, because you could really put it on the right front tire and make some speed with it without burning them up. So definitely made my time in the last 10 laps of the runs. And I was trying to pit a little bit after everybody, and it seemed to be helping a little bit, because I was not coming out too much further behind, but it gave me, those extra 2/10 on everybody throughout those entire 15-20 laps that we'd run. So yeah, definitely can't complain about tonight, for myself at least. Got my win back on the race I lost the other week off of fuel mileage. So yeah, good race for me. I enjoyed racing Potak at the end there. I'm pretty sure that he would have had it if Larry and Christian weren't racing for the lead in front of him. He had to make a move high, and it just kind of opened the door for me. But I don't think it would have worked out for him if he would have just stayed low either, because he would have just checked up, and it would have given me the opportunity to then take a run. So I think that was really just situational. I think he got pretty unlucky there. So I'll definitely take it.
A chase couldn't start much better for you here. Obviously, a first, a third last week in Kansas, that fuel mileage race that Christina Ryan and Parker Alexander pulled off. Pretty incredible stuff there. And then a second win in the chase here in Michigan. 3 races to go. You have Talladega coming up next. That's going to be a wide open race. Everyone that seems to be in a points position seems to be a little bit more, I guess, cautious going into that race next Sunday. But then it's Phoenix and Atlanta and out the season for the 46 camp. How confident are you in those next 3 races?
Yeah, I'm not exactly sure of what that super speedway package of that Riley car has, so I'm pretty interested to see how that turns out, because generally I'm pretty confident on the super speedways, but a lot's riding on this race. I feel like depending on who's in Rex, or who finishes up front, can definitely determine on who's actually fighting for the championship after next week. So it'll definitely be pretty interesting, because I'm pretty sure we're all still pretty close in points. So yeah, definitely a lot riding on the line. So definitely going to try to keep my nose clean, hopefully put myself in the right lanes, and think about points rather than the overall day.
It's a good game plan to have going into Talladega next Sunday. Before we let you go and let you celebrate your race win and get ready for the race and everything in between now and then, if there's anyone to shout and say thank you, the floor is yours. Your third race win here in the Winstel Cup Series campaign, and you're hot on the trails of that championship hunt going into Alabama. Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you. Just, of course, you all for broadcasting, Winstel for putting on the league. Lots of fun every week. And then just the field for keeping it green. Really cool to see us be able to do races. And we had the lap one caution, but to keep it green the entire race like that. I say it every week, but you don't find it much on iRacing. So cool to find it here.
A phenomenal race, a phenomenal drive from 19th to 1st. Michael Guest finds his third race win this campaign. Keeps the buffer within 5 points to the top of the leaderboard going into Talladega next Sunday. Michael, congratulations on your race win, and hopefully we get to talk to you again in a similar form in Alabama when it's all said and done next week.
Thank you.
Phenomenal job, Michael Guest, here tonight, your race winner in this campaign. For the third time, first, third, and first to kick off the chase. Not a much better way to go there. Now, one thing, we focus on the race leader a lot. Michael Guest was that race winner for an obvious reason, but a lot happened on this last lap here, and we wanted to take a chance sort of to focus on this. This is coming to the white flag, and keep an eye on the 88 and the 48. Sean Pellig in the 48, Blake Cannon in the 88 here. And let's take a look here at how this all plays out. Coming to the white flag. Again, Cannon in the 88. Pellig in the 48. We'll talk about it. The 48 camp not having their best race here in Michigan. Gets past theirs just straight up. Got a little loose in the turn one. You see Logan Crest tied defense. A bit of contact there. A little bit more contact there. Everyone splitting it out sideways, and there you go. Huge contact there. Oh, huge contact there. Christina Ryan goes up into the fence. After getting slammed by Logan Crest in by Philip Snipes. But a lot of that stuff there happening at the very end of the race helped Tom Willett get to 19th place. A huge crash there. Coming across our finish line is how things ended up there. So a full look at your race results as all of that unfolded. The top 10 didn't change too awful much on that last lap. Michael Guest, Jacob Potak, Christian Budd, Larry Pace, your pole sitter, finishing 4th. Gabriel Mauricio in 5th ahead of Emily Howe, Jose Solis Jr., Andrew Ferrinares, Andrew Trupiano, and Brennan McGee now in the top 10 after this race in Michigan. That's how the top 10 finished off. Outside the top 10, Dylan Roberts in 11th tonight here in Michigan. Brandon McKessick up to 12th. Pretty good game for him, up 22 spots. Same with Dylan Roberts. They both occupied row 17 tonight. Lucas Davila behind Ryan Hill, 13th and 14th there. Parker Alexander following up his second place last week with a 15th. Ryan Moyer in 16th. Josh Chen, 17th ahead of Alex Bates, Tom Willett, and Sean Pellig, your 20th place car tonight. Hoping for better going into Talladega next Sunday. He'll need better. 20th is not going to help him out in the slightest. Christina Ryan ends up 21st at the end of the race there. Went from 24th to 21st, so gained positions before getting thrown into the catch fencing there on the front straightaway. Tom Wetmore, Logan Crest, Philip Snipes, Blake Cannon losing out pretty big there. 25th for him. Chris Champeau, 26th. Craig Lautenslager, Corey Cook, Lucas Strayer, and Austin Reedy, your top 30 here tonight. 42 took part in this race. Not everyone finished. Tyler Murray on the lead lap, as was Brandon Coppinger. Brandon Cruz, 33rd, last car, lead lap there for him, the number 20 machine. Corey Steinhauser in 34th, the first car, one lap down. Zach Tyndall, James Grantham, Hayden Rapaw in 37th. They're all one lap down. Kirk Marble, 2 laps down. Ken Huff, 4 laps down. Evan Melanson, 8 laps down at the finish in 40th. 2 retirements, Chris Bishop and Dan Breckus round out this field of 42 here in the Winstel Cup Series campaign in Michigan. 3 races remain in the Winstel Cup Series season. It's Talladega next Sunday. A lot of racing for us before we get to that point, though. And tomorrow night, we'll be right back here at Michigan. The HTL Cup Series takes place here in the Irish Hills on Monday. We'll be live here on 8 p.m., both on Patreon and on YouTube. We'll be live for the finale of the HTL Challenger Series campaign from Homestead Miami Speedway on Tuesday, 8 p.m. Eastern Time for that championship decider. And then Thursday, the Crown Athletics IndyCar Series from Atlanta. We head there a couple weeks early for some open wheel racing in Georgia on Thursday, 8 p.m. Eastern Time, again on Patreon and on YouTube, and then we'll be back live on Sunday right here for the Winstel Cup Series action from Talladega. On behalf of everyone here for Winstel and all of its partners, and everyone here at ABN Studios and our partners, Henderson Graphics and Advanced, thank you for joining us here for a wonderful Sunday evening of racing. Stay safe and stay healthy. We'll see you tomorrow right here in the Irish Hills of Michigan. Until